Matteo Guendouzi from Marseille. This one's an interesting one. Again, a lot of people probably don't even know who this player is. Well, to give... What is it, shots, man? To give you some sort of intel on sort of this player, he's 23 years old, he used to play for Arsenal, and he's well known for being a good tackler and having a hot head. So, if that helps. Oh, and also he's a David Luiz lookalike. And he's a French international that probably doesn't play. But anyways, Matteo Guendouzi then. As I say, he used to play for Arsenal, signed by Unai Emery, funnily enough. And was linked to Villa heavily in the latest transfer window. And he is wanted by Unai Emery apparently, but we'll have to see if we can get him in the summer. He only recently joined Marseille after having a successful loan deal. Meanwhile, Arsenal are about to win the league. If he just stayed at Arsenal, he could have been lifting the Premier League trophy 1 year later. Now I'm only joking, we already know it's rigged. We already know Man City are going to use their dodgy money to try and win the league. We all know how it goes. But for Matteo Guendouzi, other than that, I feel like he's gone somewhere wrong in his career. 23 years old and you're playing for Marseille. No disrespect to Marseille, they are a very good team. And I think they're definitely... Aren't they like a Champions League, sort of Europa League type of team? They're definitely better than Villa. I mean, I know the league's different. But when you're playing in Ligue 1, the only success you're ever going to get is if you play for PSG. Everyone else, you're just playing for Europe and Champions League. Very similar with the Liga, and it's sort of similar with the Premier League, but I suppose you've got the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, and a lot more to play for in there. With Liga, I don't really know a lot about it, other than it's probably not the best league in the world to watch. I think Marseille are probably one of the best teams in there. But Guendouzi, you're 23, you've got a lot of potential. You should be playing at a top level club. Again, no disrespect to Marseille, but I'm talking like Arsenal generally. You know, Liverpool when they're on their game. Someone like that. Manchester United when they actually aren't, you know, having a go at the Glazers and winning for once. That sort of team. He's got that sort of vibe. He's just one of them typical players that just joins the bigger clubs. The one thing I do like about Guendouzi is that's not actually the case. You know, he joined an Arsenal team that wasn't great at the time. And he's joined the Marseille team that, again, isn't the greatest team in the world, but is a good team. Obviously, he's, you know, they were in the Champions League. I think it's only down to their game management that they managed to blow it on the final game of the group stage, and they went out in the earliest stage of the Champions League. Other than that, I think Guendouzi is a good player. You know, I think he's got some good game attributes, and I think Marseille's a good club. I know his shooting, as you can see, is not great, but I think he scored a few goals for Marseille, but I feel he may have just ruined his career a little. I mean, I'm not, again, I don't really know how else to put it. He has ruined his career, but he hasn't at the same time. You know, he's playing for a decent club. My only concern with Guendouzi is he's not going to win anything. Marseille, there's no chance they're going to win the Champions League. I very much doubt it, because there's just no... I just don't see it. Europa League, yes, there's maybe a chance, but again, they're not that type of club to do really well in cup competitions from what I know. Ligue 1, they're not going to win it. So what is he exactly going to win? I don't know if there is a French cup, that's probably about it. Maybe he has ruined his career. He's 23, he's got plenty of time. to go develop in Ligue 1 for a few years and then come back to the Premier League or go somewhere else. But he is in his home country, back in France. That sometimes works for players, so we don't know what's going to happen. But I think for Olympique Marseille, they've got definitely a good player on their hands. Hopefully they can see that, and we'll see what happens. But right now I feel like he is slightly ruined his career, but we don't know. We don't know just yet with Matteo Guendouzi.